Edward Deskur. This changes everything. This changes everything. Edward Deskur.
There are moments in life that change everything. And I'm going to share with you today an unforgettable, life-changing moment for me when I fell in love with a man. I'm an artist, a professional French horn player, and I was trained in the United States to play Mozart according to 3 paramount principles: utmost respect for the manuscript, the highest technical perfection, and a big, beautiful, gorgeously hypnotic sound. Those were the rules of the game, and everything else was considered secondary, not so important. Style, interpretation was just a matter of personal choice. Now, early in my career, I got a very good job at the Zurich Opera, and I was very confident that I was playing Mozart at the highest possible level until I met the love of my life. It was at the very beginning of the first rehearsal of Mozart's magnificent opera, The Marriage of Figaro, where the magic happened. There's a comical character in this opera. His name is Bartolo. He's old, he's ugly, and he's frustrated because he wanted to marry the young, the beautiful, and the rich Rosina, but Figaro got in the way and helped another man win her heart and marry her. So Bartolo wants revenge. And he gets to sing a song. We call it an aria, and it starts with the words, La Vendetta. Now, Mozart wrote this very interestingly. The very first note he sings together with the orchestra is long and loud, and then come 3 short and soft notes. So at the very first rehearsal, with no singer, just the orchestra, we played it just the way it's written in the parts. And it sounded a little bit like this. The conductor stopped us and he said, no. It's impossible that such a strong word like vendetta is accompanied in the orchestra with a weak little. Now, I want you to play those short, soft notes with the same anger as the very first note, because Bartolo is furious. Now, that caused some confusion in the orchestra because we were trained to play correctly and beautifully. And we even had an old, grumpy colleague who stood up with his finger pointed at the conductor and said, "Who are you to change Mozart? Mozart wrote piano, we have to play softly there, and you have no right to change Mozart." And there were others in the orchestra that were agreeing with him. There was a bit of an insurrection, but the conductor proved himself to be a master of his trade. He listened to all the ranting and then eventually said, all right. I'll sing it for you. So he very calmly took off his glasses and like a raving lunatic, he roared, "La!" And then the entire orchestra, including the insurrectionists, all together went, oh, because it was such a brilliant yet simple idea. And then it sounded a bit like this. Something completely different. Now, let me explain what was going on here. The conductor was using the old school approach to interpreting Mozart, whereas the new school is obsessed with technical perfection, sophistication at all times. The old school starts by asking a question. What is the message we're sending in this particular moment? And when you think about it, revenge is probably one of the ugliest emotions we have at all. So it was very appropriate that the conductor asked us to play this very crudely because that contrasted marvelously with the sublime musical moments that Mozart wrote later on. And this was the moment when I fell in love with Nikolaus Harnoncourt, an Austrian conductor, my mentor for decades, whose fabulous ideas I hope to pass on to my children, my students, and anybody who will listen to me. Now, what was it that I learned from Nikolaus Harnoncourt? Aside from the fact that rules were made to be broken, but cleverly. Even more importantly, I learned the value of the classic principle that contrasts lend depth to everything. Beauty, when contrasted with coarseness, is even more exalted. A profound insight, when contrasted with silence, is even more penetrating. And virtue, when contrasted with vice, is even more magnificent. Now, this particular opera ends with a very touching act of forgiveness. And the virtue of forgiveness, when contrasted with the maliciousness, the lying, the hypocrisy that preceded it, is rendered even more noble. And this is my message to you today, dear Toastmasters, not only in music, but also in life, and particularly in a very good speech. Contrasts make your message more meaningful, more powerful, more memorable. And this changes everything. Everything for the better. Madam Comtesse.